Okay, guys. Eversol, tie your tie. Happy Saturday. I'm waiting for the signal that we are good to go. Sarah, whenever you're ready. Oh, we're good? Okay. All right. Good Saturday morning. Today is April 6, 2024. Welcome to the voting session of the Ways and Means Committee. We have a healthy list, so let's try to get through this because we have to be on the floor at 11. We probably will still have some concurrences and some things. They keep coming in, so we'll have to hop off the floor, I'm sure, throughout the day. So try to pay attention to the group chat and the announcements on the floor. First, okay, in the cheap seats, quiet please. Senate Bill 191, and there are amendments. Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 191 authorizes the county, Prince George's County, that is, to grant a property tax credit for the dwelling of a county public school employee who moves into the county. There are amendments which clarify that the Office of Integrity and Compliance within the Prince George's County Public School System is an independent unit within the local school system, and make other changes to clarify the office's powers and duties. Move the amendment.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended.
Move favorable as amended.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 191 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 370, and there are amendments. Delegate Eversol.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill establishes the Rental Assistance for Community School Families Program and related fund to provide rental assistance to eligible students, households, and communities at the community schools. Department of Housing and Community Development, DHCD, must administer the program in consulting with the Maryland State Department of Education. There are amendments and they expand the role of the Director of Community Schools within MSDE, making the director responsible not only for outreach to this program, but for all eligible state programs available to students and children in community schools. Additionally, the amendments remove the requirement that a community school coordinator identify students who are homeless, instead leaving the operation of that program entirely to DHCD. Move the amendments.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended.
Move favorable.
Delegate Buckle.
I just wanted to ask, I'm unfortunately unprepared. I apologize for that. There's something about this bill that reminds me that the House cross file, there may have been some votes against. Do you remember that, Alistair? Or?
I think we're secondary on this, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, so
we are,
Appropriations is
yes.
primary.
But it came in, the original bill came in with community schools coordinators actually distributing money. And we really didn't feel like
I
that
think
was
he just
something.
asked about the votes. What
Just
were the
one
votes?
about the vote? That's
Right.
it.
I'm just wondering when we
Okay.
pass the House version of the bill, if there was opposition. It sticks in my head for some reason that people had some concerns about only doing this in areas that had community schools versus
Oh,
you
yeah.
might
Yes.
have the next district
You're
didn't
right.
have one.
You're right.
I can elaborate.
We're looking up the votes. That was your question.
And okay.
Okay, let's let Alistair speak.
On the floor, it was 101 to 36.
That's all I need to know. Okay, thank you. And that's not to be short about it for those watching on the record. I just wanted to retrigger my memory and others for what those issues were. Thank you.
Okay. Delegate Miller.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the concerns is taking it away, focusing so much on community schools, and we've already put a lot of resources around community schools and propping them up. Or with making that as a designation for this, then you're leaving out areas, especially pockets of rural poverty and things like that. So that was my only comment about it. Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call, Haley, on this one, on the favorable as, Delegate Griffith?
Is this a delegation bill or is it?
No, it's Senator Heddleman's bill.
Very good, thank you.
Any more discussion from any other Republican on the committee? Okay. All righty, let's do a quick roll call. Roll call is on the favorable as amended. Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Delegate Ebersol, Delegate Patterson, Delegate Buckle, Delegate Wells, Delegate Hornberger, Delegate Fair, Delegate Long, Delegate Young, Delegate Miller, Delegate Henson, Delegate Roberts, Delegate Grossman, Delegate Wims, Delegate Vogel, Delegate Wu, Delegate Hartman, Delegate Miracle North, Delegate Griffith, Delegate Attar, Delegate Plavkovich Carr, Delegate Feldmark. The bill passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 500, Delegate Ebersol.
Yeah, you caught me off guard there. Also 500.
Okay, first of all, 500 is next. And yes, Plavkovich Carr. I don't know what 415 you were talking about.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So SB 500 is identical to language that we passed in HB 1441, which was the chair's pre-K bill, but this bill specifically just makes some policy changes to a funding program that MSD administers for future childcare providers. Move the bill.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 500 passes favorably. Senate Bill 577, Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 577 is the cross-file of House Bill 1068. It requires the comptroller to implement procedures to offer certain electronic income tax return filers the opportunity to register to make an anatomical gift through a hyperlink to the donor registry. Move favorable.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 577 passes favorably. Senate Bill 878, and there are amendments. Delegate Patterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 878 expands the problem gambling prevalent studies that the Secretary of Health must conduct and requires a percentage of fantasy competition and sports wagering revenues to be deposited into the problem gambling fund. There are two amendments. The amendments are: one, repeal the termination date for specified sports wagering provisions and regulations to comply with the state's minority business enterprise program. And two, require the Sports Wagering Application Review Commission to accept and consider certain sports wagering facility license applications that are submitted before January 1, 2025. And three, repeal a prohibition against certain campaign contributions by applicants for and holders of video lottery operation licenses and their owners. Move the amendments.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Senate Bill 878 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 937, Delegate Ebersol.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bill establishes the Grow Your Own Educators Grant Program to provide support to eligible provisional teachers and non-certified teachers, support professionals interested in teaching when they pledge to fulfill a service obligation. It's in the same posture as House Bill 1157, which was passed by us recently. Move favorable.
And we're appropriations is secondary. Any discussion? Delegate Buckle.
I've kind of the same question, and I apologize for that. I like so many of these programs, but I get some of them confused in my head as we get to the end. In the House corollary, the crossfile that you mentioned, was there opposition to that bill? If anyone can recall,
I have the vote count.
Do you?
Yes, 126 to 12.
Okay, then that's all I needed. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Great.
Any other discussion? Yes, no, okay. Okay, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 937 passes favorably. Senate Bill 1005 is held. Senate Bill 1039, Delegate Fair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 1039 allows Frederick County to participate in a truancy reduction pilot program. This committee passed unanimously the House version of the bill 2 days ago. Move the bill.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 1039 passes favorably. Senate Bill 1134, Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 1134 is the cross-file of House Bill 787. It establishes the Allegheny Regional Recreational Economic Development Authority in Allegheny County. Move favorable.
I can't read George's writing. Okay, so that was moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Okay, this one has a much better bill sponsor. All in favor of Senate Bill 1134 signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 1134 passes favorably. House Bill 371, and there are amendments. Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you so much. On 371.
Yes.
Okay. The amendments make the procedures consistent for all recounts regardless of the method used. As a reminder for HB 371 election law recounts, this one codifies procedures for recounts, make sure that we have the absolute best practices, and I move the subcommittee amendments.
Okay, any discussion on the bill or the amendments?
On the amendments.
Okay, Delegate Hornberger.
Does this include any municipal or is it purely state elections?
This is state.
Any other discussion on the amendments? Okay, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion on the bill is amended? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? House Bill 371 passes favorably as amended. House Bill 459, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 459, Election Administration, State Administrator, Local Boards, and Election Directors. This bill deals with making sure we have proper performance evaluation. It will make sure that our state board evaluates our state administrator annually and that the state administrator evaluates the performance of the local election directors at least annually as well. It also includes provisions related to the local election directors having engagement with the state administrator when they're being hired. And that is House Bill 459. No amendments. I move the bill favorable.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, House Bill 459 passes favorably. Madam Vice Chair, Senate Bill 417. And there are amendments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is actually the cross-file to the bill that we just moved on. There is an amendment that would make the bills the same. This amendment just removes some unnecessary language, and with this, the cross-files would be identical. I move the amendment.
Any discussion? (417).
And this is the cross-file.
Cross-file. I'm sorry, this is not on the list because we came up with some in the background that we just moved.
So this is the state administrator one where performance evaluation.
Everybody straight?
So yes, the amendment just removes some unnecessary language. I think I moved it.
Any discussion on the amendments? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended.
Favorable as amended.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor of Senate Bill 417 as amended, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Senate Bill 417 passes favorably as amended. So the rest of these folks are not on your list. So Senate Bill 415 is the Frederick County tip jar bill that we passed. Delegate Patterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 415 authorizes a person authorized to operate a tip jar in Frederick County to operate an electronic tip jar dispenser that does not connect to the internet or to a server. Its cross-file House Bill 277 passed both the House and Senate unanimously. Move the bill favorably.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 415 passes favorably. House Bill, 1427, Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1427 alters the composition, powers, and duties of the West North Avenue Development Authority, establishes that the authority is a body politic and corporate and an instrumentality of the state, and makes the authority permanent. The amendments strike the provisions making the authority permanent and sunset the bill in 2 years. Move the amendment.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion? Delegate Hartman.
So what's the funding mechanism in this? There,
Delegate Feldmark.
It's budgeted. There's an appropriation for the
Oh.
authority. And the amount of that appropriation is coming soon.
I'm sorry, I don't know the figure offhand in light of the fiscal 25 changes, but I believe it was previously in the area. It's in excess of $10 million currently.
okay, thank you.
Any other? Delegate Buckle?
It's my understanding, so that's already in the budget that we voted for, correct?
Correct.
So everybody here, assuming you voted for the budget, you've already voted for that allocation of funds, and the bill does not mandate that level of funding via the
Correct.
bill for future years. It's just confirming that you're getting that 10 million that we already voted for, and this is how you can use it, or how the authority will be set up to use it, and there's no guarantee in the bill. I'm not voting for $200 million for additional funding for it. I'm just confirming the way it's going to be done presently.
Correct.
Fair enough,
They have to apply.
for
So-
future funding.
Yes, each
Yep.
year. Yeah. Delegate Wells.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. So I just wanted to speak on this bill a little bit. So this is, the West North Avenue Development Authority was authorized a few years ago. I think Delegate Buckle gave a good synopsis in terms of the money is not guaranteed. It's something that is when it's available. But overall, though, this legislation is also supposed to help the authority be able to have additional capacities to take on private financing in the future. So this will help grow their capacity. Additionally, the West North Avenue is a significant, it's a huge area in Baltimore City that has a lot of vacant homes and blight. So the charge of this authority is to better coordinate with all those entities as well as the city and private enterprises as well to be able to improve a significantly blighted part of Baltimore City.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, House Bill 1427 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 394, Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 394 makes alterations to the catalytic revitalization project tax credit. Move favorable.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 394 passes favorably. We also have Senate Bill 440 and the cross-file House Bill 447. Delegate Feldmark.
Senate Bill 440 and the cross-file House Bill 447 reestablishes with modifications the non-refundable venison donation income tax credit. There are amendments which reduce the maximum amount of the credit from how the bill was originally introduced that an individual may claim each tax year. Move the amendments.
Any discussion? Delegate Hornberger.
Would this apply to Sika deer as well?
Any real questions? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 440 and House Bill 447 both pass favorably. We have some concurrences. I'm gonna go through and then we'll look for a consent calendar motion to concur. We are concurring on House Bill 306, Prince George's County, a work group on independent innovation in Prince George's County establishment, specifying that TEDCO will provide staff for the work group and alters the purpose of the work group. Any questions? Concurring on House Bill 1287, School Leadership Training Program. This is the speaker's bill. And the Senate amendments limit the length of time of the school leadership training from 24 to 12 months and limit the school leaders who are required to take the training to superintendents and the chairs and vice chairs of the education boards. Any questions? Concurring on House Bill 1192, Video Lottery Employee Licenses, Crimes of Moral Turpitude. The Senate amendment alters the definition of value as it relates to crimes involving theft to include the face value of a chip designated for use in the table games. People have been stealing table games. Any questions? Concurring House Bill 700, election judges. The Senate amendments require the state board to implement a marketing campaign to recruit election judges, strike a provision allowing public students to both earn service hours and compensation, and changes the effective date to January 1, 2025. Any questions? Madam Vice Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move favorable as a consent calendar on all of these motions to concur.
I have some more.
No, I'm premature. I'm premature. I withdraw the motion.
Okay. House Bill 333, election law disinformation. The Senate amendments are just technical. Any questions? House Bill 200, community schools, approach is primary, so they're going to actually report this. House Bill 16, homeowner protection program funding. The Senate amendments strike the fee on the tax sales, which is what I think all my friends across the aisle wanted. House Bill 1076, education for the blind, textbook equity fixes a drafting error and it's technical. House Bill 1219, public and non-public middle and high schools, venue-specific emergency action plans for athletic facilities. We are not concurring on this. Oh, this does say not concur. Okay, but that's not included in this motion. So you have a Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move favorable as a consent calendar on these motions to concur.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. We will concur on all of those. The consent calendar passes. So there's a motion not to concur on House Bill 1219. The Senate amendments remove a requirement that private high schools and middle schools have to develop a venue-specific emergency action plan for athletic facilities. The motion is not to concur. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we will not concur on that. You will hear right across, we are not receding on Senate Bill 271 on early voting centers. The chair of the conference committee will be Madam Vice Chair, and then appointed also will be Delegate Fair and Delegate Griffith. It wasn't cross-filed, right? Is that what it means?
It depends on the.
Turn your mic on.
It depends on what the amendments are. So if we don't concur on the opposite house amendments to a House bill. If we put amendments on a Senate bill, and then they don't like them and they try to get us to take our amendments off, that's when we would choose to recede or not recede. So it depends on where we are in the process.
Okay, and if you are appointed to a conference committee and you have any questions, just ask the chair of that conference committee. It's usually someone running around with a folder, trying to get you to sign the folder. Okay, anything else? Any subcommittee announcements, anything? Okay, folks, we'll probably be coming off for some concurrences, so listen up. Thank you very much, everyone.